just a comment. A couple weeks ago, I was unable to be at the meeting in Clark, and the reason I wasn't able to be there was the graduation of my youngest son, Daniel. Graduated from college in Memphis, Tennessee, from a little school called Christian Brothers University, and we're enormously proud of him. And it was a very crowded weekend as well, because my nephew Christopher was also graduating from George Washington University, and my niece Carolyn graduated from New York Law. So it was a very auspicious day in the Sullivan, extended Sullivan family, and I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate everybody on those graduations. But not being able to be at the meeting didn't mean I wasn't able to see the meeting. And through the great technology that we have here, I got sent a copy of the DVD of the meeting. And it's always different to watch it from a different point of view. Sitting at my computer the other night watching the various speakers and all. And I must commend the chairman for his magnificent tolerance of the speakers, and we'll talk about that. It was exceedingly interesting, and my favorite word, and I think I'm going to use now, is transparency. That especially Mrs. Renna using that word over and over again. And it was just amazing for me to hear the total lack of transparency from this person. We talk about personal attacks, and I don't know if I have quite the quote, but I think it was something like a boil on society. And if that's not a personal attack, I don't know what in God's name it is. But let's talk about a lack of transparency and a severe lack of transparency, especially talking about Oprah. And Mrs. Renna talks about her blog, but I notice she has nothing about her blog, I guess about the perjury that she may be charged with any day now in the Golding case. And, you don't have to attack anyone. All you have to do is read the newspaper accounts and the prosecutor accounts. Of the unbelievable behavior of this person. So, if you don't mind, I'll just take my time. I'm going to quote from a letter from the prosecutor in the county of Sussex, talking about Mrs. Renna and that particular quest. And I'm going to focus on Oprah because I want to end with something about Oprah. It seems on November 14, 2018, Renna filed an Oprah request seeking emails between Karen Golding and Joseph Crine for the period of 2003-2004. Importantly, Ms. Renna sought Karen Golding's personal email accounts and Crine's personal email accounts and Mr. Crine's other accounts. It was assumed by the victim, meaning Mr. Crine, that Golding put Renna up to this, that Renna was making this request for Golding because Golding could not herself get the information. And if you know that from that case, you know that Mrs. Golding was forbidden from contacting Mr. Crine as part of her pretrial intervention program. And it said the victim's attorney stated, in the light of no contact order, it would be a violation if Mrs. Renna made this request on behalf of Ms. Golding. And it said the state agrees. And then it says the Sussex County Prosecutor's Office Detective Mueller contacted Tina Renna, and Mrs. Renna confirmed that Karen Golding approached her and asked her to file an Oprah request for the above referenced information. Ms. Golding also supplied Renna with her personal email information as well as Joe Crine's personal and business email information, all in direct violation of this pretrial intervention course. And then we have other information from the Star Ledger where Mrs. Renna gets to sit on the witness stand. And I'll just cut to the Oprah request. I've never filed an Oprah request for anything, interestingly enough. And obviously I have some numbers here as to the number of requests that Mrs. Renna has filed. But I'm going to file a request, and that request is going to be for all the testimony in the case involving Miss Golding and Tina Renna and her testimony there. And I think it'll be very interesting once we get a hold of that information to be able to read it here to find out exactly what she said on the stand. And kind of the quote that I have here, I guess it was an argument in the case itself where the prosecutor, Mr. Mueller, and I quote, blurted out to me that Tina Renna is lying and I'm going to charge her with perjury. So I think it's just a fascinating case. I know, like I said, Mrs. Renna doesn't mention it on her blog at all. I guess, that would not, promote her case at all. But it was laughable, frankly, her conduct at that meeting there. And I couldn't blame the county manager for his reaction to it because it was just one personal attack on top of another attack. And if anybody thinks this is a personal attack, we're just talking about here what's on the public record and what people say and, frankly, what they lie about. And it seems Mrs. Renna's got a lot of answering to do. And that's why it's kind of laughable, this whole business with Oprah request and what have you. In 2008, Mrs. Renna filed 48 requests for documents, of which it was 976 total documents. Out of a total that year, total request, it was a little less than 1,800 documents. So one person is filing more than half of the total documents looking for God knows what. And then has filed any number of requests would have cost the county thousands and thousands of dollars, and then when told what the cost would be, says, well, never mind. So that's what happens here time and time again. So we're going to get this request, and I don't know how long the Oprah request takes to get, but I've got plenty of time to do that. And then we'll see about exactly what happened in this trial. And I think it'll be fascinating to find out how much she lied. Again, I think it's very interesting that she writes nothing about it on her own blog. She doesn't want to tell anybody about it. She acts like it never happened when it's all over the newspapers in various articles time and time again. So I'd be happy if Mrs. Renna get up here anytime and take her 5 minutes and explain to us how she didn't lie on the stand or how she didn't file an Oprah request for Karen Golding or how she didn't involve herself in what was a child stalker and a lawbreaker, and how she subverted Oprah, the law she talks about and brags about time and time again, how she subverted Oprah for illegal purposes. Shame on you, Tina. Shame on you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chairman. I want to